Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, and this extension to the altcoin video that I was doing earlier on my lunch and got cut off at the very end of my lunch by work. But there was a lot of big news as copper had the biggest one-day loss of greater than 20% in the history of copper on the stock market, and that was induced by Trump taking off out of the tariffs the part of copper that is the most highly bought, and the majority of the copper the U.S. buys will not be affected in the tariff. And that brought it from an all-time high and dropped the price 20% in one day. You went from a record high of almost $6 a pound, all the way down to $4.41, or a dollar loss of almost $2 a pound in a single day, of $1.48, or 24.95% from swing high to low, and 20% on a day. And that was the greatest single day loss in copper futures history, even though it's still near an all-time high, all because the tariffs they were taking out. Palladium and platinum were down 6 to 8%. Silver took a big push down, and these were primarily due to easing tariffs, but mostly due to very good economic data that came out today, and the Federal Reserve not lowering interest rates, and due to the good economic data to perceive that it's not going to be lowered anytime soon. Therefore, commodities took a dip down. Silver was down better than 3.5% at one point. It was down from its high a few days ago of nearly $40, and it dipped below $36. Gold was down about $60 today, almost 2%, 1.5%. Cryptocurrencies and the altcoins, they were down big, and we're going to get into the Bitcoin and the Ethereum price a little bit later. There's been a lot of movement. You can see the Bitcoin price here recently. If we zoom in very quickly before we go to the altcoins, to give you the idea of the volatility that has taken place with the tariff news and the economic news in the hour time frame, it doesn't look like that much, but you can see with the economic data that came out earlier, you had the big dump, and now you're having the follow-through return. Our program director, because he sees me conducting business, likes to get talkative right now, and he's going to be talkative, so you'll hear the meowing in the background, and then we'll pet him. Come here, boy. And then he'll quiet down, and then he'll go out and stare out the window because it's raining, and he likes to look at the rain. But you can see there's been a lot of volatility. We're nearing that consolidation. Watch that video. We had an 18-day consolidation we were watching out for in Bitcoin, and if it breaks bullish, it could go to $150,000. But one of the big things we were talking about with the altcoin season, the confirm an altcoin season 3.0 that confirm it, would be getting below the 58.55 like you see in green and confirming it, because we haven't been there since we attempted to start the altcoin season 3.0 right here in late December, early January, where we had that initial big dump from about 61.69, and it dipped down to 54.83, and then we had a big altcoin pump, but it got cut and dashed and brutally stopped as we went from 54.83 all the way up to 66.12 dominance, or a several year high since about COVID, right? So that's what we're looking for, and you can see the altcoins have rallied nicely the last couple of weeks, as you've had two big areas where you had one return down, and this bigger one right here has started an altcoin rally, and now we're having a consolidation right here. And if this is a bearish consolidation and this breaks down, you could see a next move with Bitcoin dominance taking a technical target. If this doesn't break back to the upside but breaks to the downside, would actually get you to 57.00 dominance, and then you would really be cooking with the altcoins. And if we look at the altcoins, we talked about AMP and DGB earlier, and then we got cut off. So we're going to scroll on in the ALGO and pull this up, and you can see ALGO today on that news. Look exactly where it went to. They respect these support and resistance zones, right? And it's very important to have that in your mind and be able to emotionally handle that and follow it. But you can see we wicked down to that 24 cents, which is the bottom part almost exactly of the red trading zone. And we're going to move this because it's in the way of the moving averages, and just above the 50-day moving average, right? And then we got supported and we had a brief bounce. You have to hold this like we've been talking about for several days in the short term for ALGO since we broke up into here. and got topped out just below this 36 cents, you have to hold this red trading zone. If you don't, you're going to fall through these moving averages, and before you know it, it's going to act like an attraction or a magnet down to that 20-cent horizontal left to right. So that's what we're looking at in the short term for ALGO. And you can see we had that initial bounce in the daily. Now we're going to see if we can't hold this and the moving averages to make that next run up here at 36 cents. Because obviously we know that the 52 cents is the next area of major resistance if you could break past the 36 cents, right? And then we do know obviously the 20 cents is your major area that you would have to hold, because if you fail to hold that, your next major support zone would be way down there at 10 cents, right? XCN's the same thing, but a different price level. You can see XCN, the moving averages, we're going to move this over a little bit, are running still mostly parallel. The 50-day is slightly trending down because the price has been slightly below for a few days, but we're still trading within the same range with XCN. And we know in the short term here that ever since we got rejected up here at this 0.04230, or the top part of this red trading zone, we need to change those colors. And we came all the way down to an area that we called, the first call from up here was down here at the 0.014. And then we said if it broke this, the next area would be down here at the 0.00810, the bottom part of this zone. It held the support, had that massive rally in April, and got rejected by the 0.022, and then was going on support near the 50-day moving average and just above the top part of this purple zone, and resistance twice, resistance the third time at the same level, the bottom part of this red trading zone. And now we've been holding support on the top part of the purple trading zone. And this is the key area now that we're watching in XCN, and we know this. There's no mistaking, and we understand it's the bell notification, and that's the importance of getting that first mover, become members of Jabroni Killer, $3.99 a month, as cheap as that, to help support the channel and keep these free daily videos coming with truth, trust, education, and information. We all know that if we break down below this 0.01501, right now you're just below, you can see the red dotted line, you're just below the 50, and you're just below the 100-day moving average right here, and just above the 200 and the 0.015. And if you get below this, it's going to be a quick fall, and you'll come all the way back down here like a magnet. And that's what we're trying to fight right now with the price action. And we're going to see the next few days what happens. If you can stay bullish and stay on top of these, the 200 and this purple area, you can work your way back over the 100-day and the 50-day, and eventually try to work your way back up to the 0.02279 in XCN. In the short term, XDC is the same thing. You can see we've had a nice recovery after we had the initial rejection, and this is something you would expect to see. Had initial rejection off the 10-cent level. You can see our horizontal orange line up here. Rejection 1, support. Now we're coming back up to it, and what's either going to happen is A, you're going to breach this and make a move up here at the regional high of 12 cents, or you're going to get rejected on a double top here, and you're going to trade back down into the moving averages, and then you're going to trade sideways briefly, and that's going to be your decision point. And you have to stay above these moving averages to continue to try to break this level, because if you slip these moving averages, you're going to end out back here and actually hit this technical target of 0.0418446 in XDC. But right now we're trying to break this level, and we're going to continue to watch that, because if you did break this level, like we said, the next level up would be the 10 cents, and then maybe eventually the 20 cents in XDC. The HBAR, same thing, different price level. We came off that mountain double top here, and old Vincenzo gave this audience a great call here, where we diagnosed right in here this mountain double top forming. Put your technical target down here, hit it once, hit it twice, and that's what was the pattern turnaround. We thought there was a potential maybe to get as low as 0.08, but we did hit our technical target beautifully, calling it from way up here, from in the 30s to nearly 40 cents, calling for a 15 cent, double bottomed up, we were looking at a 34 cents as a major overhead resistance. We're getting resisted just below that price. We're consolidating. The moving averages are trending up, and this is a theme in a lot of these coins and altcoins. And if you can stay above these moving averages here, you can continue to trade sideways and down a little bit to build the base, to build momentum, to make another run at the 34 cents and have third time be the charge and then break on top of it. And if you break on top of it, you're pretty much becoming in the price discovery, and you could have big targets of up near $1. But first things first, you would have to get above the 34 cents. And in the short term, you stay above these moving averages and have these moving averages slowly trade as the price slowly trades sideways. And as the days go on into August, you're going to be tightening the range between upper resistance and the moving averages. So there will be an explosive move when the break up or breakdown happens. And on a breakdown, your major underneath support obviously is this 15 cents, right? And the HBAR, LCX has been one that has been like an amp that hasn't done anything. And you can see LCX is still sitting all the way down here. We're going to have a big arrow this time. Still sitting below this 0.0, the 15 cent level, and to having major underneath support at the about 9 cent level, right? So you got the 14 cent upper resistance, the 9 cent support, and the moving averages are overhead of the price and have been repeatedly ever since really back here in January of this year, have just repeatedly, the moving averages have beaten down the price every time it's got up in there. And right now it's at an area that where if you were going to buy, it's actually not a bad time to take a chance on it, because this could be another one of these times where you came down off of major overhead resistance, and then you could have a quick 10 to 20% pump back up into those moving averages to get rejected again, right? So we're going to continue to watch this in the LCX. We'll continue to watch the altcoin sphere. Peace and love. The Rex Eyebrow, Jay.